Hi everyone. Welcome to our session here. We're going to be talking about universal design for learning in the middle school. I have two amazing teachers here from Crestview Local Schools in Ashland County. Karen Keener is the language arts teacher in 8th grade, and Jordan Landis is the intervention specialist who co-teaches with Karen, and they do a fabulous job with their learners. I'm Barb Gentili Green from State Support Team 7, and here's the amazing Ron Rogers from the UDL Center at OCALI.
Thanks, Barb. So one of the questions that we have for you that we're going to start with, you've created an atmosphere in your classroom that really supports students becoming expert learners who know how they learn and what helps them learn. Can you tell us what made this happen? How did you do it?
Well, we started having conversations with the students about being in charge of their own learning and opening up those conversations, making them reflect on things that have worked for them, things that haven't worked for them. We have students complete rubrics. We've had students do surveys to give feedback for themselves and to also help them reflect. Think of other things that we've done.
It's a lot of intentional planning and intentional things on our end just to make them start to become more self-directed and self-prepared and understanding themselves and understanding how they work as learners. Whether it's self-evaluating how they did on an assignment or self-evaluating the choices they make when we give them choices in the classroom. It's giving them the chances to go back and evaluate what they're doing.
Yeah, the choices that we give them, they can choose how they're learning the material, how they're reviewing the material, even how they're assessed. And when they have those choices, it helps them realize that they're more in charge of their learning. And I think I was at least a little bit nervous about giving students more choice, but I found that when you do that, they are more attached to the learning goals because they have some ownership in their learning. So it becomes more meaningful to them. The learning becomes more meaningful.
Definitely see kids become more engaged and more in charge of what they're learning, and you really want to see them do well, and you see the confidence growing in them, on a daily basis.
And it's so obvious too, Ron, when you walk in their classroom, like their students really are engaged. I mean, they're excited about learning, and it's paying off. I love watching it. So Jordan, you referenced a little bit about that intentional planning, and co-planning is just so powerful to really improve outcomes for kids. And so how do you go about planning? Like, what do you think about? How do you come up with some of the ideas that you come up with? What are the kind of questions you ask yourself when you're planning? Just tell us a little bit about how you do that.
Well, it's a lot of what we talked about with our students is self-evaluation, but it's a lot of self-evaluation on Karen and I's part. It's, looking back on what we've done before and how can we make changes to help students, meet those educational goals we have. It's knowing where we want our kids to end up and finding those paths that we're going to give the students to be able to get there. It's looking at, we did an activity this way before. What way can we make it more accessible for students on the low end, medium end, and how are we going to push those kids on the high end?
Yeah, I think we are really good at making ourselves equal in the classroom and making all our students equal in the classroom, seamless. Just finding ways that that can help all the learners bump up and grow.
That's awesome.
That's nice.
Isn't it cool? Cool. It really seems like your core beliefs drive everything that you do. Like you have this sense of what you think is right. And so how has the UDL framework impacted your core beliefs and how you use that framework then in planning and instruction?
I think my core beliefs have changed a lot. I look at all of my lessons through a different lens now. I really like the idea of saying, it's not what's wrong with the student, it's what's wrong with my lesson. So I always look at what have I done in this lesson that's preventing, even that one kid from getting that information. And I think it really helps when you look at what barriers have I created for those learners. That's probably the biggest thing for me, the biggest change for me.
And everything Karen said, I would, agree with it tenfold. I truly, at my heart of heart, believe that every kid can learn. And when I'm in that class and when we're planning, it's, what can we do to eliminate those barriers to make sure that every one of those kids are learning and are meeting those goals that we're setting for them and they're setting for themselves. And I mean, at my core, deep down to my bones, that's what I believe, and I really feel that every kid can learn.
That's incredible.
It just gives me the
It gives me
chills.
chills,
It
too,
does.
it
Like
does.
like you guys are living UDL. I mean that's such a big shift for people to think about and to take that risk to think about themselves and what impact they have in their instruction, and that could be the barrier. And so that's just amazing that that's how you guys think about that, because it really helps all the kids, and I can see that when I watch.
And you know the big question that everybody's thinking right now is there a data impact at all?
Oh,
You know what
yeah.
you know what's your data say? You know, can you kind of give us a little bit of a hint on how that looks, sounds?
Yeah, so in the past year we got our state results. So before we kind of shifted to this mindset of UDL, we were seeing some growth in our students. We were kind of in that middle to maybe slightly above average. This past year we both we got the most effective rating in our student growth between low, medium, and high. Our lowest growth on a state level was a 4.8, I believe, and then our other two were like a 7.2 and a 7.6. So our summative, we saw like a 5.4 growth, which is huge in numbers that just really support what we're doing and we're seeing in the class anecdotally, and it's getting backed up statistically now.
Yeah, I bet that felt good when you
Yeah,
got
it gives you
those
confidence,
results.
keep going and keep trying and keep
Yeah.
knocking down barriers. So, yeah.
That is great.
That's awesome. And we'll be sure that visual is sticking in people's mind, because it's really powerful. So thank you guys for what you do. It really is a pleasure to watch you teach and watch your kids learn, because you guys are doing it. You're rocking it. So I thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us here at OCALI and giving us a few minutes of your time for this video. It's incredible, and it should impact a lot of people out there that come to our website and watch the videos. Thank you.